Yeah.
That's
Core,
crazy.
core memory unlocked right there.
That is crazy.
Yep. Yeah, we got a
That's
very,
crazy.
very,
Yeah.
very versatile
Signed?
guest on here today.
Is it signed, Devin?
Go
I
back.
don't know. Let me see here. It's been a little minute. Let me
Did it
see
get
here.
signed? It should have been those copies.
Oh, nope.
No.
I wasn't special enough, but it's cool. We
Man.
here.
Okay, I got it.
We here. We here.
That's your shit.
What year was that,
That's
man?
my bad. 2020.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
came out
Okay.
in the height of COVID.
Yeah, there it is. Well, check
Mhm.
hey, better than new, navigating divorce, redemption, and restoration. Lydia Smith and Nikita Turman. So check that out. Go to your nearest whatever you do and get that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. On that note, welcome to another episode of Share the Vibes Podcast. I'm your host, Jink the DJ, founder CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. Glad to have you with us for another episode with another special guest because you know every guest is special. So I'm excited about tonight's conversation. It's going to be a good one tonight. But hey, if you wherever you're watching this at, like, share, subscribe, comment, click that bell so you know we post it. Share this with somebody who needs to hear the conversation because you know somebody who needs to hear the conversation. So don't be stingy. You know the spiel by now. Share the vibes is what we're here to do. So appreciate y'all for rocking with us and looking forward to a great conversation on this one, man. But before we get into all that, Moan J, how you doing, brother?
Hey man, look, I'm ready. I'm ready for school to be done, bro. I'm just gonna be real with you. I'm over it, bro. I'm over it. I am over it. I am sick of them. I'm tired of them. I'm sick of them. I'm tired of them. I love them, but I'm sick and tired of them. Sick and
Hey,
tired.
for real.
Them is not
Yep.
just the kids. I leave it at that. Them is not just the kids.
All of them, huh? All of them.
Of them. All of them. I almost told the assistant principal today, dog. Like, hey, dog, just get in my face, bro. Like, just get out of my face. You trying to go hard at the very last second of the year? Not go. Get out of my face, dog. You ain't been in this corner of the school all year. Now you want to come up? Nah, go on, dog. No, I got this over here. We good. But other than that, man, I'm just I'm just excited for the summer, man. Just ready to get it in.
Yeah.
As Mr. Peterson said last podcast episode, if you all heard it already, is that the luxury of working in education is that we have time, and I'm excited about that time. So shout out to Mark for that. He definitely put that in perspective. Is that we have time, and I will be utilizing all my time,
As you should.
reclaiming all my time.
Reclaim it.
Claim it.
Claiming all my
Do y'all go to June or are you out this month?
June. So June 5th is the official last day. And I'm that teacher, man. I told my students, I said, hey, so the way it kind of works is, and just in a quick like 60 seconds, is that so I have a mixed class. I'm an elective teacher. I teach media and business. So I have seniors in pretty much every block. And so the seniors are done this week. Their last day is Thursday, really. And so I'm like, well, you guys have the luxury of being in class with a senior. So do the exam by Thursday. The other students' final exam is next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then Thursday is the makeup day. Get it done Thursday. And then you're done with my class for the rest of it. Then you just focus on whatever you want to focus on. You don't even have to come to my class if you don't want to. Like, I don't, that's how much I don't care anymore. Like, let's get it done. We gonna have some kids that not gonna heed that warning and gonna be there.
Yep.
Whole week to get it done.
Hey, man, what they say, you lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink.
It can't make it drink, can't make it swallow, can't make it do nothing. But it don't want to do nothing.
Hey, well, keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Water, brother. I'm telling you, you put the water in their mouth and they still ain't gonna swallow it. They be like, yes, how to swallow? Like what? Like, oh my god.
Hey, well, make sure y'all tap in with Audio Moguls Media and Audio Moguls Podcast Network so my brother can breathe a little bit. So we are proud members of Audio Moguls Podcast Network. So music and technology, business, culture, whatever we talk about these days, because we just got to do what we want to do at this point in season 4. But yeah, whatever we doing. If this ain't your thing, I don't know why you're here, but I'm glad you are. Maybe just like Lydia, I appreciate it either way. But I'm sure there is something on the Audio Moguls Podcast Network for you if this is not your thing. So tap in Audio Moguls. This is linked in the description. Check out all the good stuff that my 1J has going on while he has his time.
While my time, claiming my time.
Look at God. So, hey, man, we're gonna get talking. So we have a special guest. Like I say, every guest is special. We have the incomparable, the loquacious,
Okay.
the debonair, the auspicious. Oh no, I'm running out of words. We got Lydia Smith with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lydia, how you doing?
I've been playing Scrabble.
Man, I like it. I low key gonna have to look up some of them though. Don't tell nobody.
Me too, low key.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Chilling, kicking it. Y'all said don't come prepared, so
Yeah.
try not to get nervous. I'm trying to relax and just chill, but yeah, anxious to see how this gonna go. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. So see, Lydia's used to being on like corporate panels and conferences and stuff. Like, nope, this ain't that. Nope, can't even do that. Can't do your homework for this one.
This is good. I just get to relax, just chill. I've done a couple of those lately, and yeah, I need a break. So I'm happy.
Good. Well, hey, glad to have you with us tonight. I got a chloroseptic in my mouth, little cough drop like thing, cause I don't know, my sinus is trying to get to me, and I don't want them to. So, that's why I'm here. Cause my throat trying to get scratchy, and we ain't got time for that. So, if I sound crazy, that's why it'll melt by the time we in a little bit. So, that being said, so I always like to tell the story. Oh, I gotta move this thing. Hold on. All right. So that means I always like to tell the story of how I got connected with our guests, because we are all about connections here, share the vibes. So Lydia and I met. That ain't working either. All right. So Lydia and I met about carry the one about 13 years ago. Yep, about 13 years ago, 2013.
He's interned.
Yeah.
Interned.
I was 19. Yeah. Think about that. So yeah, we met 13 years ago. I was interning at GE Healthcare, first time in Milwaukee ever. And in the corporate world, well, I haven't been outside GE Healthcare, so I have to assume it's the case. But I just talk about GE Healthcare. When you come into GE in the corporate world, you're gonna find the black people, and it ain't gonna take you too long to do it. So it didn't take me long at all to get connected with Lydia. Probably within that first week, I knew who Lydia was. She knew who I was, and it was kind of up from there. So I know you were doing some work with like recruitment at that time and other stuff. So just over the course of that summer, we just got connected at work. And then eventually we had some times outside of work that we won't talk about, at least not yet. But we had some times outside of work that summer too. We just been up from there. So yeah, I met Lydia as an intern, and she was kind of like one of those mentors around, one of the people you looked up to who had been doing it for a while. And yeah, that was that. And Lydia played a big hand in Social X, getting that off the ground way back when.
Oh,
So
I was just talking to somebody today about day parties. Like, when that was a thing, day parties, when that became the thing to do, that era, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I learned what a day party was while that summer in Milwaukee. Like I said, I was 19. I grew up in South Georgia. I'm at Miles in Birmingham. And I kid you not, my LB became the director of alumni affairs. I forgot what year that was, but I think it was 2018 is when he threw the first day party at homecoming. In 2018, people back in Birmingham like, well, what is a day party? Like, what are you talking about? People were so confused. I knew about it for 5 years because I met Lydia.
But that's crazy to think that like we are of an age that we ushered in the era of day parties. Like that was us.
Ever.
Yep. Yeah. That was that is crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. You almost hear about more day parties than night parties now.
Yeah, because we unks and aunties and uncles.
That's it.
That stuff. That's gotta be out at night. Yeah, that's for the.
And somebody talking like last week about day parties, and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, and then we went out afterwards, and then we did this." I was like, "What?" That was a whole purpose of the day party. Was to do the day party and then be at home chilling. Am I right? Like,
nah, so yeah, that was Simon Wonder. Do you remember Rumor?
I remember hearing of it. I was never there. No.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Yeah, no, I was there. Yeah, that's over there by Wall Street stock bar now. Over in that area ish. I know you're talking about. Yeah,
across from what's that? I think it's Stack Burger Bar. I think it's name.
Yeah,
across the street.
Yeah.
So that was my first day party. It was at Rumor. Yeah. So that was my intro to the grown folks' life. Rumor.
Yeah.
And
Good
I think I was 20 by that point. So yeah, man. So good times. And so yeah, we connected then. And yeah, I won't incriminate us. So yeah, so we had some good times that summer. And so then went back to Miles, junior year, whoop the whoop, did the return internship. And they would send out the emails with who your assignment leader is and all this stuff. And Lydia was my manager. So I was super excited. I was like, oh yeah, I get Lydia this summer. All right, it's up. So we had the phone calls and everything. And then I get ready to start, and she done changed roles, ain't even in IT no more. It's like, okay, I have no clue who I'm gonna have now. I mean, it still worked. I still had somebody really dope, but yeah, Lydia was supposed to be my manager, but she said, nah, I don't want them, and just left IT altogether, like went to marketing or something. So that's how that went down. Yeah, man. So we met then, and eventually, Lydia, left the company. I think he went to Northwestern Mutual or Kohl's, one of the two. Went somewhere else, but but we were still around when I moved to there full time. I think you were still at the company when I first moved to Milwaukee, like for real. Yeah. Then you moved around a bit. I met your daughters eventually, who have no clue who I am at this point. Like they're in high school now, which is crazy. So I mean, it's just all that over time. She came to the wedding, and we saw each other Afrotech a couple of years ago, and now we talk on a regular basis about whatever's going on in life. So glad to have you on here, man. Quite the journey. 13 years, summed up in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's it. When you say it, I'm sitting here like, dang, you done lived a little life, Lid. Okay. You get into the day-to-day, and like you don't always consider how far you've come, especially when things get rough or you're going through a hard time. But like to hear someone else talk about, like to hear you talk about those past 13 years and everything else, I'm like, dang, you low key, you done a little bit. So it's crazy to hear.
Yeah, so Mark Peterson.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. So I think you were the one who introduced me to Christ the King.
That's how I met Mark.
Yep. So when I first moved to Milwaukee, like full time, when I interned, I went to the Life Center a little bit with Micaiah and Audia. I went to Faith Builders a bit, which was a dope church too. And then but after a while, I was like, I was looking for there was a healthy balance I was looking for between like that old school and new school.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but somehow you told me about Christ the King, so I pulled up, and I think this happened to be a Sunday. There was like a young adult meetup or something afterwards, and I met Allison that day, and I think we went over to the fellowship hall, and it just kind of went from there. But I started going to Christ the King on the regular. I got to know McVicker and everything. But we had Mark on last episode, from Christ the King. So he was a Christ the King connection too. So it's just all coming full circle now. I wouldn't even think about that. But yeah, I was earlier, I think might have been yesterday. I was like in the shower. So I was like, how did I get introduced to Christ the King? What was the timeline on that and all that? So yeah, but
which was dope because you were, I remember back then too, you being very unapologetic about your faith, and so that conversation even coming up at work, to say oh, let me tell you about Christ the King. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As an intern, and even just even coming to Milwaukee full time, everybody doesn't talk about that and everything. But I do remember having that conversation and suggesting it. I try to get everybody to come to Christ the King.
Christ the King was solid, man. I enjoy Christ the King. Shout out to McVicker. I know it's a new pastor now, but it was McVicker when I was there. So shout out to him. I remember I was at church one Sunday, and there was a lady in the choir stand. I'm blanking on her name. Somehow, all these people at Christ the King, she in the back of the choir and spotted me in the crowd, sent word through somebody that, hey, who that? Somebody was choosing on me from the choir stand. I'm in the mind of my business, getting my worship on, and so somebody pulled me to the side after service.
Okay.
Saw you I was up there singing alto. And just wanted to saw that anointing on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oil.
I love it.
That happened.
It's all the oil.
When I got chose on the church day for somebody in the choir stand. Your boy still got it. All right. So we had Mark on last week for Christ the King. I was just trying to remember, how did I get there? Now, Lydia put me on the Christ the King. That was a connection there. So a lot of connection points along the way. But yeah, I vividly remember Caleb. Shout out to Caleb. He
Yep.
was a ITLP too, so same white cap is what I always call Caleb. But yeah, he was no
Caleb's a
he was
homie
like
too.
we going to cause we stayed in the same apartment complex. Like, hey, I'm gonna go down to the beach, meet Lydia and her kids, play with them. So I was like, cool, I pull up. So I rolled down, and the girls weren't messing with me this time. They had to be probably about 3 at this point in time. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say
Yeah. They're
about
about
2 or
3,
3,
4. Yeah.
3, yeah, something like that. And they weren't messing with me at the beach. I was like, that's cool, whatever. And then I think next time I was at church, they saw me. And they asked you, could they come speak to me? And they ran from the front, came and spoke to me. I said, all right, we cool now. And
Yeah,
then,
they read character. They like, first time I gotta get a good feel for you.
And then I think it might have been about a month or 2 later, and I think Drika was actually in town, and we were out at Bayshore. Shout out to Bayshore.
I remember that.
Yep. And you and the girls out there, it was like a splash pad or something.
Yep,
And me
we
and
were at
Drika
the
walking
splash
by,
pad.
and I didn't even see y'all. I just saw, like, I look up and the girls just running towards me. It's like, oh snap, they really mess with me. So I'm like, it's cool. And saw them a few years later, and it was like we had to start all over again. So it's over with now. But I see them. Shout out to them. They doing their thing. Hey, what are they, like, juniors now? Ain't it
They are. They'll be juniors next year. So this is our last week of school. They'll be juniors. They're doing, SAT, ACTs this summer, prep. They're driving. It's crazy. It's crazy. I have for real young adults. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh man. So I think that's all right icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost coming together how I want to tackle this. Let's see here. All right, you've probably done this already, but I'm gonna go for it. This is kind of where my mind went. So, all right, so you have two twin daughters, in high school, approaching junior year.
Yep.
What does junior year Lydia say to your daughters as they go into their junior year?
Man, what does junior year Lydia say? So my kids remind me all the time that they are not me. They are not who I was. According to them, I have good kids. They like, because I tell them the stories. You know how you try to prep your kids and you try to talk about certain things, and so they maybe know a little bit too much about how I behaved as I was in high school, and the things that I did that I shouldn't have been doing. So I would have probably tried to warn them, but they don't need it. Like they honestly, they're built so different. They have so much more confidence than I had, and just this very bold, unapologetic attitude. So honest, like complete transparency, I wouldn't tell them nothing, because I feel like I would the things that I would tell them would be based off of, my insecurities and the issues that I had, and why I was doing the things that I was doing, and they don't have it. Like that's the blessing, and honestly, the silver lining to raising my daughters is that I went through what I went through, but I've been able to instill and teach them certain things along the way that, they don't have the same issues. So I would shut up. I would be like, I would honestly, because what I would say to them, going into junior year about, who your friends are, what you do, where you're going, be careful about, your reputation and your future, and all of that type of stuff that I would say to them based on what I knew going into my junior year and the mistakes and stuff that I made.
Yeah.
It all came from a place of being somewhat insecure and doing things I didn't need to do to try to fit in and belong. And they're not built like that. They don't have that issue. So I just be quiet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. That's a blessing. I love that. We'll see what I got to say about this in a few years.
It's honestly, because I know you experience this too. It's like we are raising young women who we want to think for themselves, who we want to, have opinions, and we are raising them in a way that they can share them and voice them. And it's funny because I see posts and I see Drickens are talking about the girls and all that, and I'm like, yep, been there, done that. I see it. I see where that's going. But like that's, and yes, they're the hard moments. They're the moments where you're like, ooh, my mom's phrase is, I'm trying to parent the me out of my. That's why you're so frustrated, because you're trying to parent the you out. But the flip side is, the beauty of it is, as they grow, they are very confident and very sure of who they are. Like, I know they're going to get into certain things and they're not going to be perfect, but they're so much more secure than I was at that age.
Wow. That's a testament to you, as a mother, as a leader, as a woman and everything. That's a testament to you, especially raising 3 girls. We just talking about the twins, in high school.
Yeah.
We got little Maddie that's running things too.
Yeah, that's the baby boss. That's the little boss of the family. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and then when you see other kids, other students, and you go to the school for events, or you see different things, and you see that, like, that is truly a blessing, because all the kids don't have that confidence and just self-assurance.
No, that's real. That's real, man. So much to talk about. So I guess just to set the stage for the audience, so who we have here. So like I say, Lydia, we both used to work at GE Healthcare. You on Nicole's has had roles in marketing and other things. Was the chief diversity officer for Victoria's Secret. So has had the C-suite experience. When we think about the corporate world, you've literally climbed the corporate ladder, kind of done it all. Probably everything except CEO of Fortune whatever company, but have literally been in the C-suite, pretty close to it. And even entrepreneurship. So someone with a breadth of experiences when we talk about professional, just the professional gamut. We just talked about a mother of 3 girls. You got your Rattler shirt on, so you got the HBCU experience. So just quite the range of life experiences in general. So just want y'all to know who's on here, because y'all know we be all over the place sometimes. So I said, I got to work on getting the point across in like the first 30 minutes, because it'd be like, I went to it, we ain't even talked about who this is. So so that being said, I guess walk us just through the background story, kind of take us to the beginning of where you're from, who you are, what made you who you are.
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Topeka, Kansas. Lived there my whole life until going to school, going to FAMU. I am the what is going on? Can you guys hear me? Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
That was no, you fine.
I don't know. Okay. So I'm the youngest of 3 kids. I'm a part of a blended family, product of a blended family. So my mom and dad had boys before they had me. My brothers are 16 and 11 years older than me. So only girl and the youngest. So was spoiled as spoiled could be. So when it came time to go to college, like, I didn't apply to any in-state schools at all. The closest school I applied to was Oklahoma State. It was like 3-4 hours away from Topeka. I knew I was going away. I had to get away. FAMU, in true HBCU fashion, came back with my paperwork and the scholarship and all of that stuff the month before school started. So my graduation cake actually had Oklahoma State Cowboys, because that's where I was going. Big grad party celebration, everything else. Got the paperwork like mid to end July from FAMU. You got your full ride, all of that stuff. So boom, go to FAM. So I think in terms of the origin story of like how I got started, that was a big part of it. Like, I knew I wanted to get out of Topeka. Not that it's a bad place, but I just knew I wanted to do more. I needed to experience more than that. As a small town, and the people who stayed there, they had nice, comfortable, very similar lives. And I
Yep.
knew that I just wanted to be exposed to more. So went to FAM, did my whole thing. I got involved in activities, dance teams, sorority. I'm a Zeta. Did all the stuff while I was there. Graduated, had a whole bunch of internships, got 2 job offers in Milwaukee. So I figured like, okay, Lord, I guess you want me in Milwaukee. Either way, I'm gonna end up in Milwaukee. It ended up working for GE. What's crazy is I did a 5-year MBA program. So got my MBA, concentration in marketing. We go through the recession, everything else. And I ended up getting an internship because I interviewed for a marketing job, didn't get it. The second interviewer happened to be the head of IT at Miller Coors. His name's Thomas Windsor. And he was impressed by my interview and was like, do you want to come work in IT? At the time, I didn't know anything about IT, anything about technology, had a business analyst role where I was really, translating marketing requirements from the marketing team into IT requirements. So that was my first introduction into IT.
Yeah.
And really, that was the beginning of my career. That's what got me into GE Healthcare. That's what allowed me to, get the leadership skills and progress and move. Long story short, I went down the marketing route. Then I went down the DEI route. I went where doors were open, but also I kind of made decisions based on the work that I really loved doing and the work that I wanted to do, at the time, and doors opened. I left GE, went to Northwestern Mutual, went to Kohl's. And then from Kohl's, that's when I got the call for the job at Victoria's Secret. And honestly, my best friend, her name is Jo. She lives here in Columbus. Somebody told her that this chief diversity officer role, they were hiring for it, the first chief diversity officer for Victoria's Secret, because it used to be a combined company with L Brands. They were splitting. They're hiring the first role. She called me and she's like, hey, they're looking for a chief diversity officer. I'm like, I just got the job at Kohl's. I've only been here for 2 years. I'm about to be promoted to VP. I'm good. I don't need that chief diversity officer. What? I can't even do that. How would I do that? I'm a director right now. She's like, girl, if you don't send me your resume. So I sent her the resume, get the call from the recruiter the same day. And that process was less than a couple weeks long. It went pretty fast. And is that me? I don't know what that is.
What's that? The bot's taking over?
Right. Transformers.
Okay. I think we're good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so got the role at Victoria's Secret, and that was life-changing. I mean, moved the family to Columbus and took off from there. Was there for 3.5 years. And it kind of came to a point where it was both. It was two things. It was the business changing, new CEO, new leaders. When you're in the corporate world, you got to understand, like, new leadership, they want their team. And their team means it's going to be some other leadership changes, who you're, not like, I don't want to say cool, like it's all about friendship, but like who you're aligned to, who you're working with, like what all that looks like, that starts to shift.
Yeah.
And there were all the changes and everything happening with DEI. And so last year, left Victoria's Secret, and took like 6 months of doing nothing. Like the day I got the phone call, well, I went into the office, had the conversation. I immediately heard God say, rest. Like, and it was very clear. Like, I don't hear his audible voice very often. And I heard him say, rest. So I didn't do anything. So there was like 6 months of, I wasn't on LinkedIn looking, applying to stuff. I wasn't having conversations. I was praying, journaling, sleeping, and at every basketball game, cheerleading, softball game, everything the girls had, I was there. the moms in Maddie's class were like, "Oh, you're Maddie's mom? We only know her grandpa." Like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good to meet you." I felt like horrible. But I had to be present, you know. So I did that for 6 months, and then work just kind of started coming. Like people started tapping me to consult and to do things. So started consulting, had one foot in, starting this business, really going all in this business, one foot in, like applying a job still, like trying to do both, trying to decide like, okay. And then it was at the point where I was like, I want to go back. I want the comfort. I want to go back to a corporate job, a W-2. I need to get this paycheck every 2 weeks, please. I need the lifestyle back, all of that. And like, it wasn't happening. The roles that I wanted, I didn't get. The roles that people were coming to me with, I didn't want. And the doors kept opening on the entrepreneurship side, more clients, more business. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I guess this is what you want me to do. This is not what I asked. But nevertheless, I will do it. So that's where I am now. You know, I am all in on this business and open to what he may have. I feel like there's probably stuff he's teaching me and I needed to learn throughout this process. Not to say I won't ever go back to corporate. I'm not one of those people that's like, I can't work for the man. I can't stay corporate. I don't want. That's not it. I'm being obedient.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's how we got.
Walked us from top to bottom with that one. Okay, there it is. Nah,
that's it.
But y'all hear it, man. Like it's quite the journey. Quite the journey. Simple question: How is life in Kansas?
Well, so here's what I say. Here's what I think. I think a lot of people in Kansas, for whatever reason, the way that it works, most people, like when I think about the people that I grew up with, I think maybe like one of my close friends, and I didn't meet him until maybe sophomore year in high school. He moved from Wichita.
Okay.
But like everybody that I grew up around was born and raised in Topeka. And so I think that's the thing. Growing up in Kansas, when you are exposed to different and you start comparing it, you're like, man, we ain't had this or we didn't get to do this. But that's because now you know it because you've gotten out of Kansas and experienced something else. For those of us that didn't know any better, it was a life.
Yeah.
Like, we had a great time. I had parties with friends and going out with certain kids that were tipping cows out in the country. The next weekend you be, you know, in a maybe what we would call like the hood at a party and kicking it, or at Jefferson Square. It was one of those places where it was big enough that it wasn't like the little towns where like everybody knows everybody. Like,
yeah,
you know, a lot of the same people, but it was big enough for us to have fun, safe enough for us to kind of be able to navigate and have some freedom. We had the teen clubs when I was growing up and that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But I think the thing that we lacked was exposure.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to dream big if you're not exposed to certain things, you know, like I remember when, the mentor I was telling you about, when I was on internship in Milwaukee, my parents came to Milwaukee to visit, and he came to pick us up. And have you, like, my dad is born and raised in Topeka too.
Yeah.
Hadn't really experienced anything else outside. He played basketball in college for a while, so he got to see a little bit, but not a lot. He picks me and my parents up in his Range Rover. And, you know, like, Range Rover for executive, he's, you know, director, senior director, like it's not that big a deal. Milwaukee, Range Rovers all over the place. We got the, you know, luxury stores, whatever. But like my parents' mind was blown. Like they couldn't believe that this man is driving, this Black man
right.
has a Range Rover. I remember they dropped me off at FAMU for college, and we went to Red Lobster. That was like the big deal. That was when I was growing up in Topeka. That was probably the nicest restaurant that we had.
Same.
And so we, if you get good grades, something special, the celebration, you go to Red Lobster. And when you in there, you probably the only Black family in there, and maybe like one server. And we went to Red Lobster in Tallahassee, and it might have been like 2 white families in the Red Lobster. It was full of Black people. And my mom and dad lost it. They were like, what is this? What are Black people doing out here that they can feed Red Lobster like this? Like,
getting that ultimate feast.
Man. And they were so like, it was like this thing like, oh, we brought her to the right place. Like she made like we gonna be, and like, so I think that's the good and the challenge about growing up in a place like that is that like, yes, it's great. People know each other, it's family oriented. It was a great place to grow up, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's real. You know what I've loved about this season. Number one, just got to learn a little bit more about my hometown, my upbringing. Just with some of the guests we've had this season, we had Carlos Scott, who y'all may have crossed paths at some point potentially. He's in Atlanta. Okay. Does a lot on the marketing PR side of things, but Carlos, he's from Fitzgerald. From Fitzgerald, Georgia. We had D'Angelo DeBerry on a couple episodes ago, who's like huge on TikTok now and Out of Hand program and all that good stuff. But he's from Ocilla, Georgia, 10 miles from Fitzgerald. I felt we might have had somebody else on from down that way, but I know just them, they were able to like give that perspective. I say it all the time, but it hits different hearing from other people. They just were talking about that life coming up in South Georgia, where our closest mall that was like a halfway mall was 30 minutes away, and it didn't even have a food court. Like the closest mall with a food court was in Albany. Albany State is like an hour away. And people from the big cities even clown them. But like Albany was our big city. You go to Valdosta Way, got Wild Adventures down there and all that stuff. And we used to ride 30 minutes to Tifton, go to Red Lobster. Like that was a big deal. Like that was a planned trip. Take 30 minutes, go to Red Lobster, get that ultimate feast, little shrimp trio, shrimp scampi. No, you doing something. Look at the lobsters in the tank when you walk in. So, so earlier when you were saying like you didn't apply for anything in state, I can relate to that because I did apply for Georgia Tech, and I was planning to go there, but I got into miles, so I ended up going to Alabama. But I told my mom like I'm not going anywhere below Macon. So it was pretty much meant Atlanta or out of state because I was not doing anything in South Georgia. Just to your point, I knew I wanted something different. Not to say there's anything wrong with home. You can always go back to home, but I think part of growing, regardless of where you're from, I think you need to see something different. If you grew up in Atlanta, go somewhere else for a little bit. Just see something different. You grew up in Milwaukee, go down south for a little bit. Go out west a little bit. Just get a different experience. That exposure, it makes all the difference in the world. So I'm glad you gave those examples. Even your parents getting that exposure. I think I traveled internationally before my mom did, at least overseas. But she went to Greece, after a while, and she got to see some of that too. So that's the beautiful part when you have experiences, and life gets to a point where your family can have these experiences, and then you can talk about those things. And now that was a shared experience, and that's when you start to kind of even change the consciousness of your environment, and like people get exposure and new worldviews, and all of a sudden the world opens up. It's a world of possibilities now.
Because I think that, don't get me wrong, I do think there are some people who are just wired in a certain way where they don't necessarily even have to see it to dream it.
Yeah.
I do think there are people who that's just innate. They're dreamers. They are like, I want it all. For me, and honestly, like this is something I've even been working with, like working on myself about and praying a lot about, because I'm more of a practical, I think it's like a dreamer, but I'm a practical dreamer. Like my bar is typically set just a little bit above what I practically can see or think. And so that piece that God has to do to make it happen, I be leaving him the small piece. I be like, I can get myself here, and then he could do the small piece. Like for me, I remember going to college, going to FAMU. Long story short, like I filled out all my paperwork, like all my FAFSAs, all of the stuff. Like, I did that just my family situation, like those were things that I had to take care of. I didn't have a lot of support and help through that. My parents supportive and loved me, like that just wasn't something that they had experienced or had exposure to help with.
Right.
And I remember filling it out, and the combined income for my parents was like 49,000 something. And for Topeka, like that was decent, like combined household income. Like we were doing okay. We weren't rich by any means, and probably like many people living above our means, but we were okay. But
right. Yep.
In my head, I'm like, I just want to go to college and make $50,000 a year. If I by myself can make $50,000 a year coming out of college, I've won. Like I am doing the damn thing, because combined, I've lived this life, and this is what they did together. So then, future down the line, I get married or whatever, I'm winning. And I graduated college making 54. But I eventually got like exposed and saw and thought like, wait a minute, what if I had wanted to go to college and make $100,000?
Mm-hmm.
How would that have changed how I moved, the things that I did, the decisions that I made? Had my bar been set higher? My bar was set based on what I thought was like reasonably possible based on what I had experienced. So I think that, to me, that's the perfect example of why exposure is so important. Because if you don't have it, I think a lot of us will set, it's a goal, and it's something that we think we can do, but we're not pushing the limits.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's funny because I'm the first in my family immediate family to go out of the country. And the first trip was South Africa, Cape Town. And they were like, why you want to do that? Why you want to go there? Like, it's y'all fault. Like growing up, we would travel all the time. Every summer we would take a road trip either down south. One of my favorites as a kid was going out west to Las Vegas. And we would go all the time and travel all the time. And even as a baby, my grandmother would take me on the plane. I don't remember this, but she would take me on the plane all the time and just go down south. And that's when like tickets were like $20 or whatever. I don't know, whatever the case may be. It was super cheap. And I'm like, so why don't the natural progression is, okay, I've done the here, like it's time to go other places. And so I remember as the trip started to get closer and closer, it was, why would you want to go there? You ready to bring me a shirt back? And I was like, okay, we're good now, and once they found out it was okay, it was all right. And it was starting to, and my goal and my dream still is today is to get everybody's passport and take them somewhere, it don't have to be anywhere far, but take them somewhere out the country so they can get that feel of going through customs and getting that passport stamped and it's visiting a place that's completely foreign to them, is my goal. But yeah, to your point though, it's like, at one point in time, you can only see this. And then as you start to grow and get more exposure, then you can start seeing that there's a whole new world out there. And I'm even in that point as well, too, where he's talking about like the $54,000. And I'm like, that's cool. Now, like, where can I go to tap in to get more? And how can I expand my horizons to get more? And I'm thinking for me, but I'm, going back and forth and as you like you said before in prayer is that I might have to go back to school and get my master's. And that I don't want to go back. But I was like, we got AI. Hold on, we got ChatGPT and Claude. Maybe it might be all right.
Totally different experience.
I don't know. Because writing the paper on your own is different. I remember those days. 11 o'clock at night and you got the paper due at 8 o'clock in the morning and you got to write and now now you could do it in 2 minutes. So I don't know.
I saw a post I think yesterday somebody shared and it was like, I don't know how y'all went to school without AI. It's like, bro, I wrote 10-page papers on books I didn't read.
Exactly.
Hey, man, talk to us.
That's the crazy part. It's like you really do unlock certain parts of your brain. But I will say I have to challenge myself not to get in the habit of using AI too much because it goes away. Like it's a muscle. Like, so you're right. Like we were writing papers left and right, doing our own thing, doing all of that. But when you stop doing it, you lose it. It is definitely, you don't use it, you lose it type of thing, for sure.
I don't remember the last time I wrote a paper.
Yeah.
Probably closest thing I've gotten to that, it was a speaking engagement. Like
I was gonna say these LinkedIn posts. That's the new paper.
That's crazy. LinkedIn, the new paper. Oh man, we gotta write that down. Man, all right. So Kansas and I really realized we had those many parallels just in our background. Even some other things you said, kind of stuff like the 50, like you wanted to get there, make 50,000. I think you said, the medium household, their income's like 49 or something. You said. I remember my starting salary out of school was 67. And I remember my mama used to make 48 as a teacher back home. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm starting in know where my mama ended. And as I thought of that a little bit longer, she ain't end at 48. But nonetheless, at that time, it was a big deal to me. I was like, wow. It's like I thought I had made it. And other people on campus, like a couple people I told about it, they was like, man, tell them that number, Devin. And then you get out here and it's like, wait a minute, hold on. This ain't that. This ain't that.
Yeah.
So man, it's a whole world out here, man. So talk about that C-suite experience. I don't think we've had we've had executives on here before. I don't think we had like corporate C-suite executive before. Like what is that experience like? Like the good, bad, and the ugly. Just what is that experience?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Looking at
man, so I think the good, I'll start with the good. Similar to everything else, exposure. I think the higher up you go in corporate C-suite, especially, but even below that, right? Like when you get to the senior director, VP level, you do get exposed and learn more about the business, right? Because at this point, it's not just your function or your area. You're getting more exposure to the P&Ls and to, what's the strategic priorities, what's happening with the business, what's happening behind the scenes. And so your ability to navigate the business world in general, you're getting way more exposure once you get to that level. Whereas I think, before you get there, before you get into that executive leadership, you're really, even if you might be responsible for a piece of strategy, you're responsible for executing for the most part. Like you are the arms and the legs and the feet, and you're meant to make things happen. You're not necessarily meant to know why they're happening or how they're happening. You're just supposed to make it happen. So I think that's the good. That is like the best part about it. Someone told me, like when you're in executive roles, you have to think when you take the role, your job is to contribute more than you're getting out of it. Like you're going to be getting a lot out of it, but your job is to be adding, putting things in, contributing, helping them. But ultimately, the reality is like when you're in those executive level roles, like you should be learning too. Like you should, especially when you're new to it. Like I was this role at VS. I was a director at Kohl's, but like this was my first like senior leadership role. So I was learning a lot and just listening, paying attention, seeing how people move. So that's the other thing I will say, not bad, but I didn't realize it until getting to this level is how people move, right? The alliances, the friendships, and not like from a key standpoint, but like in a meeting, I'm gonna say yes to whatever you say. I'm going to have the meeting before the meeting to make sure that when I go in here, this happens. How do you present to a board? There's so many things that are not a part of any 30, 60, 90-day plan. They're not part of onboarding. And there's no guarantee that you're going to have a manager or a leader or, a boss who's going to tell you those things either. So the importance of relationships and having those people who are going to truly, look out for you, and give you what I would say, like space for grace, meaning like you're bound to make a mistake. You're bound to do something wrong. Do you have the people in your corner and the things set up so that when it happens, you have a place to fall. You can make a mistake, you can mess up, because everybody doesn't have it, and everybody doesn't think about preparing, building the goodwill to be able to do that when it happens. And that's why I think you'll see some people. This is where I would say maybe the ugly part is it maybe, and I don't know that this is at every company, but I think starting my career in GE spoiled me a little bit, because GE was so focused on leadership. Performance was important, but being a part of a leadership development program like ITLP, where so much of it is about your leadership skills, how you're growing other people, that's a part of how you are assessed, not just did you meet your metrics and your goals. Getting to the C-suite and getting to other companies and getting into leadership and realizing that leadership isn't necessarily just the leading of other people. And in a lot of places, you can be rewarded and promoted and praised and be a horrible people leader, terrible people leader. But because you're making the company money, because you're delivering results, because you are helping to grow the company, you'll continue to get promoted and praised and everything else. Yeah. And so I think seeing that and how that plays out in the more senior levels, I think that's where the ugly piece came in. That's where you really see the behind the scenes of the conversations and the, deciding to look the other way when someone is clearly not doing the things that they need to do, or how, this person, we're reacting this way, the other person did the same thing, and we're not reacting the same way. I think you might see it when you're in more junior roles, but you're kind of shielded when you get to the more senior levels. You have exposure to all that, so it can definitely taint your view. Yeah, I would say a little bit more, because you're exposed to and you see more of what's happening. The other thing I would say is definitely having more influence to help support people and help to change and shift things. Now, that's different at every company, but I think that's the part that was the most meaningful to me, was to know that I had a seat at the table for certain conversations. I could influence certain conversations. There were still things that I couldn't, of course, but knowing that I had a voice that other people didn't have.
Yeah, there's a lot packed in there. Now, I'm not at the executive level yet, but I am at that senior, what they call senior professional, whatever. I'm at the senior level, not quite at the executive level, but I'm at that point where I'm in far more strategic conversations now, and some of the teams I support, they're talking about revenue targets, and you talk about P&Ls and all that stuff, which is no profit and loss, 1J and all that stuff. Those corporate talk, but yeah, like you start talking about revenue targets and talent strategies and all this good stuff. It was because my role kind of expanded a bit last year when my manager took on a new role. And that first staff meeting I was in, I was like, oh, it's a different conversation in here. I've never been in a call where this is the slide that's up. We're talking about this. So, and it's and it's starting to settle in on me here lately. We're in the middle of IT investment planning for next year, and it's like my Super Bowl season. This is when I'm locked and loaded, going crazy around here. But it's truly setting the direction for the next year. Which is crazy, when you think about it. But now I'm just at the tip of the iceberg. I'm just starting to get exposed to some of those things. So I can just imagine that there's another leader that I know at another company, and I was asking him, if he was kind of in line for CIO at that company, because somebody recently left, and he's like, no, thank you. He's a rattler too, actually. But he said the bullets that come at this level, I'm tough enough to handle it. The bullets at that level, I ain't quite there yet. Now maybe God wants to transform me that, but I'm cool riding out these next 10 how many years right
That's
here.
real. That's real, and because it's like, and to call it bullets is like so crazy of an analogy, but it's real because there are absolutely people coming for you. Like, you know, and no matter like what, when you get to that level. And so that's the crazy part of corporate, you know, because like he's right. Like that's what happens. And you got to be prepared. You got to be able to handle it. And like I said, like I think the part that people don't think about is creating the space for when you do make a mistake, when something does happen, when something doesn't go right. Like, do you have the goodwill and the things built, the reputation built, the relationships built, et cetera, that you have a space for yourself, like when that happens. And everybody doesn't think about that to prepare it. So that's what's important.
No, for sure. Now I want to transition to the entrepreneurship piece. But I'm trying to get better at this podcast thing. I'm a wonder. He's a great podcaster, and I'm just here trying to make him look good as I can. I want to get there a little differently. So, what's the experience going from C-suite level compensation to full-time entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the thing. There's my story, and then there's others. I would say I know a lot of people, because I don't want to make it sound like, you know, my story is the only way. I know a lot of people who are very strategic about how and when they leave corporate because they're planning to, right? I wasn't necessarily planning to. I kind of think a big part of mine was like a kick because I was comfortable and I wasn't going to because I liked my cushy salary. So I do think there's a way to do it where there's less of a from here to here type of experience. But for me, it was, like I said, I had this great salary. I'm providing for my family. You know, I have a multi-generational household. I'm in that sandwich. So I have my 3 kids and my 2 parents all here that I'm the provider for. So my salary was doing it. And and then I decided to start this business with 1 client. And my salary went back to what I was making when I was in and I tried my best. Like we tried to shift our expenses and lifestyle to match this new salary. But we didn't do quite a good job. So it took us some adjustment. So I would say like the transition, if you haven't been planning for it, can be difficult. And then if you're not prepared for the lifestyle changes that have to happen, you know, and so that first 6 months when I was resting, you know, because I'm resting because I had planned, I knew my run rate, I knew all of this, and I'm like, oh, we deserve to rest, we deserve to go out of the country on this trip, we deserve this. So we were still living the life. This year, some things changed. Like we got this grocery budget. Y'all are not eating Chipotle 3 times a week anymore. Like we not hitting the mall every weekend. Like life changed this year, and everybody was okay. They live. They're good. We ain't missed no meals. God has continued to provide. But it was definitely a like shift in having discretionary income and then going to not living paycheck to paycheck, but not having the abundance that I had before where I really wasn't paying attention, which, not to get preachy, but I think that was a big part of the lesson for me was that I got to a place where I was stewarding. Don't get me wrong. Like I was stewarding what I had, but I wasn't necessarily trying to grow it anymore because I was comfortable. So I was like, I'm good where I'm at. We got everything we need. We don't need any more. And I had gone from, you know, I remember being in IT working at GE. I had the twins, and it was like we eating a $5 hot and ready pizza. The 3 of us are gonna eat this one pizza because I gotta stretch the $23.07 in this account until payday. Like I remember living like that. To now I'm getting paid. You know, I have this job at Victoria's Secret, this C-suite job. Great, I'm getting paid. And when everything happened and I had to switch and start looking at things, I had bills that were coming through that like subscriptions and things that were, you know, maybe like $75 a month for something or whatever else. And I didn't even know that it had been coming out of my account for months because I wasn't paying attention because, you know what I mean? So like, I do think that this season has taught me a lot about managing what God is giving and providing to me.
Yeah.
Because I was out here doing whatever. And now, you know, I'm making a fraction. I'm like building, right? So like I started back to where I was making a fraction of that with one client. Okay, now we got 2, we got 3, we're onboarding the 4th. Like, is it growing? Yes, but I had to really take a step back, build a runway for myself, like, and then look at my run rate and really reassess. So it wasn't just mountaintop to mountaintop. It was we hit the valley. We definitely hit the valley in there.
Come on now. Yeah.
Talk about the power of mentorship. You mentioned that a couple times here, and you talked about it being in the C-suite where you kind of almost got to learn a lot of things on the fly and just kind of take notes on the side. But talk about that having a mentor, and what value did that give to you?
Yeah, I think so. Thomas, I'll say his name again, huge, because I was an intern at Miller Brewing Company at the time. They've, you know, sold, changed names, all of that. But again, no exposure. I knew enough from school, you know, I like dressed properly and I looked the part or whatever. But he cared enough to tell me the things that like no one was going to tell me, right? Like they're not, and I think that's where mentorship is important, because having somebody who's going to have a real talk conversation with you and tell you the things that other people aren't going to tell you, right, wrong, or indifferent, about the culture of the company you're working for, like how to navigate those types of things, that's important. And I know people are always like, now this whole forget a mentor, you need a sponsor, like all of that, like that's all great. And maybe you do need someone to help you get in the rooms and all of that. But like, you aren't going to need a sponsor because you're not even going to get that far if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have the person to break things down for you. And once I got to GE, it was Susan Borden Barker. So she was the head of the ITLP program. And I remember, so the backstory is I start this program right out of college in January. I was a December graduate. I find out I'm pregnant at the end of March. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I done messed up. They gonna kick me out of this program. I go into Susan's office. I'm crying. I'm like, I'm pregnant. I'm so sorry. I let you down. Like, you dummy, we can't hire you. Like that's against every law and what, like you can't get fired. Or we should say we can fire you. Like, girl, shut up. Like you got to have these babies and you're gonna be fine, you know. And
you gotta know Susan one, Jay.
just know that she was just like, girl, shut up. Let's write this announcement and tell these people you pregnant and like you're gonna be fine. But having her, this Black woman, this Black executive leader at the company who had 2 daughters herself, mentored me, right? So maybe she sponsored down the road. I'm sure she did. I'm sure there were rooms where she said things on my behalf and you know, when I wasn't in the room. But the mentorship piece was her telling me and reminding me that I could do this.
That's good.
And giving me the tools that I needed to be a working mother and how to make those choices and how to stand up for myself when I needed to make the choice and when I needed to be at work later, when I needed to tell them I can't attend something because of something I have for my daughters. And I didn't have that language. I didn't know how to tell my boss I wasn't coming to the party on the boat and the thing and to do. That's what a mentor does.
Yeah.
And I needed that. I needed someone to pour into me, to believe in me, to tell me that I could do it, but then to show me the way and give me the tools along the way. And that's what she did. So I personally think mentorship is so important, because you don't even get to the point to where you need a sponsor if you don't have mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good perspective. It makes sense, but I haven't really, because I hear the mentorship sponsorship conversation all the time. I've given it, but I haven't really heard it from that lens. Like, yeah, but to get to the point of needing sponsorship, you need mentorship to get there. That makes sense.
Most people do, and maybe you don't, right? Maybe you came from a family with mom and dad that been there, done it, did all that, and you got people who can tell you all the things. And kudos to you. That is great. That is wonderful if that's what you have.
Yeah.
But without a mentor, it's like, how are you even going to be ready for the sponsor to give you the to hype you up in the room or to do the thing for you to walk through that door?
Yeah. And then maybe to your point, and maybe it's not necessarily a mentorship, but there's a development that's needed there for sure.
Yes.
How you get that, call it what you want, but there's a certain level of development, education, kind of trial by fire, if you will. But there's that development period that's needed to prepare you for that elevation.
Yes. That's good.
Come on. That's C-suite leadership right there. That's C-suite leadership right there. Come on. What you going on, Josh? Say your wheels turning.
Yeah. Because talk about the skills that you had in the C-suite and how that translated over to you being an entrepreneur. Because I would argue that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've been on both sides. Being an entrepreneur is just as almost as tough, maybe more tough than being in the C-suite, because, like, to your point, you running a business is all strategy. Like, you got to figure out all these different things. And Debbie, too, like, being an entrepreneur, like, there's a lot of things you got to think of, especially with Share the Vibes. I was actually talking about Share the Vibes earlier today with someone at work, and the things you got to sit back and do. Like, you all talked about a P&L. Like, I knew of it because I went to school, but I didn't really have to do it until I started my own business. And if you want to apply for this grant, you need a P&L statement. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and go and look at YouTube and figure out how to break this down and make it look good. You know what I'm saying? And or what are KPIs and all this stuff like that. You're like, okay, like I said, I went to school, I read about this stuff, but now actually having to apply this stuff is totally different. So what are those transferable skills that you have?
That's good. So I would say one is definitely influencing without authority. That's the first one that comes to mind, which people think is crazy to say from like a C-suite executive level situation, because you do have authority and you do over your team. But the reality is most of the things that you need to get done exactly it's that matrix piece. It's with partners and people, and they may be peers to you, but you need their team engaged to do certain things. So then you got to influence them to get their team to do the things. And so I think that ability, learning how to do that, learning how, like, that art and science of influencing people, and getting them on board to think how you need them to think to do the things that you want to do. Like, it really sounds manipulative as I'm saying this. I don't mean it to be, but it low key kind of is. And so then, like, transfer to, like, from an entrepreneurship standpoint, like, that's what you're doing all the time. Like, now you're in a position where you're, like, from a business development standpoint, you're pitching all the time. You're talking to people. You're trying to get them to see the value in what you're delivering and what you're doing. You're trying to get them to make the decision to work with you. Like, that influencing piece is huge. I feel like that is, 90% of what I'm doing. In falling flat, not doing it, not getting it right, sometimes tweaking it, learning how to go back to the drawing board, and figure it out. But, like, that influencing piece is probably the biggest one for me from a C-suite standpoint.
And what came to my mind as you were talking, if you go back to the I think it was the original, the Temptations movie. It was the Temptations biopic. I forgot the name of it. Might be the Temptations. Yeah,
I think it
Temptations.
might have been, yeah.
And they got the songs in the studio, and Barry Gordy has like the group of people in the studio listening. It's like, all right, hey, you had your last dollar. Would you buy this song or like a cheeseburger or something like that?
Yeah.
Or buy a Coke or something. And like that's really what entrepreneurship is. You're trying to convince somebody that whatever it is you're selling is worth more than that burger they want. It's worth more than that suit they want. It's worth more than the pair of shoes they want. Like, is that influencing without authority? That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and I mean, you really are, from an entrepreneurship standpoint, especially if you're in a service. You know, you're in a service business, consulting, that type of thing. But I think from a product standpoint too, it probably exists. It probably applies. But ultimately, like, there's a problem. There has to be a problem that they have that you have a solution to, that you are helping them to solve said problem or address said issue. And so first there has to be a problem. So you have to be able to identify the problems. Sometimes your clients don't even know they have a problem. And that's where this gets like really interesting, right? Like, the easy, the easier piece is where, okay, like, clearly they have an issue, you need a marketing campaign, or, great. You come to me because you need a marketing campaign. That's your problem. I can solve it. But then you get to the place where they don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they have a problem. They can't see the upside. They can't see that there's a disconnect or there's an issue, and they're not reaching their target audience the way that they can, et cetera, et cetera. So now I got to educate you and tell you that you have a problem. And then I got to influence you to tell you that I can help you fix said problem. So that's the other piece, I think, from a C-suite standpoint. You develop an ability to analyze situations very quickly, take information, take data, come to conclusions. And you have to do that to help, like, for you to be able to identify where those problems exist, that then you're like, okay, I have the solution to your problem. But that's another thing that I do on a daily basis that I learned, I feel like, being in that senior leadership role.
Yeah, man, it was something you said that struck something in my head. That was a bar right there. I just heard that. Come on now. What are R&B singers at? Hey, it's something you said that struck something in my head. Come on now. Hey, that's a bar. That is a bar. Come on, man. Get my R&B bag. But I don't remember what it is. So don't do that, fellas. Don't do that. Remember whatever it was. Man, dang, it was something in there. I think I forgot the second thing too. Good gracious. Wow. That's crazy.
I was about to say, look, I can't talk about it because I'm the same way.
Oh man, that's wild.
Why you
anyhow? Oh, go ahead, Mwanje.
No, I was
you
just
better write it down, Devin. Write it down.
That's crazy. Wow, that's crazy.
It's gonna be that long. I get time though. No, I going back to that problem piece. I think that is one of the things that I love. That's one of the units that I love teaching the most, is getting kids to understand that every business that you interact with started with a problem, and they figured out the problem, or we call them pain points, because I want them to feel it. I want you to feel it. Like, that's a pain that customer has. And so I was like, what does Uber do? Like, what does Uber do? Well, what problem is they're solving? And then at first it gets simple. At first they're like, well, people don't have cars. Okay, tell me more. And he's like, and then he started digging into it, and it's like, okay, they changed an entire way that we used to drive. I was like, you guys are not old enough, but you probably don't remember taxis. You probably don't even, you may have seen it out of town, whatever, but like,
TV.
Or on TV, like that. I'm like, you guys know how we had to get taxis? And they were like, no, how you get taxis? I'm like, we had to do this, or like wave them down, things like that. And I was like, guys, so Uber said, you know what? Stop doing this and now go to this. And they were like, oh, I get it. And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's still there's some bias there, but it kind of removed the bias there, because I'm like, if you're a black man trying to get a taxi or a black woman trying to get a taxi, like, and I teach majority of black kids, like you might not get the taxi. And when you get in the taxi, and I remember taking one in Chicago one time, and I think Apple's GPS system was still kind of basic. It wasn't the best though. And I'm looking at the route, like, why did you go that way? Oh, they're doing it to run up the tab. Like, they run it up. Like, now you know where the route is going to take. You know who the driver is going to be. You know all that good stuff. Now they removed that layer that we used to have when we were growing up, where you didn't know who was going to be in the car. You didn't know what the car is going to smell like. I mean, still don't, but at least you know. At least you get an idea from the rating. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a 5-star. All right, cool. We know something's going to be good. And then even the transparency from the writer, like you get ratings as well too. So it's really dope to show like how the kids like, oh, I didn't get that now. And then they'll come back to you the next day and like, hey, I looked at Chick-fil-A and like, oh, they don't just tell chicken, they do this. I'm like, yeah, okay. All right.
That emotional piece is huge.
Yeah.
Especially from a marketing standpoint, because it's like, was it maybe the original pain point was you needed to get from point A to point B? Sure. But then you have, women who you don't want to just hop in a taxi with everybody and then no one knows where you are or who the driver is. So that's the pain point, is like now it's safety. That's an emotional thing. Okay, so great. So how do we speak to that? How do we make customers feel that, but then get the sense of relief because we are now, solving for that problem or solving for that pain point. So yeah, I love that thought process because it starts with maybe something simple, but then digging into and figuring out all of the feelings and emotions that are tied to it. Then those are that's where your messaging hits. Like those are the people that you talk to. You talk to the people who have those different, even emotional, issues and ties to this, pain point that you're trying to solve.
Vaseline did it. Vaseline came out with that beautiful, beautiful commercial. I don't know if you've seen it, Dev, where the black families, they put it all over the face. I said, oh, we doing a lesson on that today. Like today. Like, I went on ChatGPT and I had to work early. I went to ChatGPT, like, give me a lesson on this commercial right here. So they had to create their own culturally relevant ad. And some people talked about, like their favorite food that they had or whatever the case may be. My exemplar was the bicycle cards. That's what that's the spades with all the time. Because I put it I'm like, don't we use these cards? Like, I don't think we use any other card, and we use bicycle. I don't know why we go to bicycle. And I had talked to my dad about it. He was like, no, that's the good cards. Like, those are the cards that don't end. They're like, those are the standards. And I'm like, how do we decide that? And it was just a thing we did. So I use that as my example. I'm like, guys, like, you got to understand that there are stories behind these brands that you can create, and you will be surprised like how many people, especially in the Black community, do these things. Like, we all know what Vaseline is. Like, y'all have Vaseline on right now. I'm looking at y'all face. I have Vaseline on my desk for that reason, because I have accident all the time. Mr. Thompson, do you have Vaseline? And I'm like, here you go. I'm like, be careful though, because some of y'all be digging in there, everybody digging in there ain't clean, so you got to be careful with that. I'm like, yeah. But no, I just thought that was dope. But you said though about really quickly analyzing things and letting customers know, like, hey, you have a pain point here that you probably haven't thought about or not fleshed out as much, and here's how I can help you flesh it out. Yeah. And I do that podcasting all the time. I'm like, it's not just getting on these microphones and talking, but what can you do with your brand that you can do intimately with your voice, or maybe with somebody that you know? Or how can you talk with your customers? How can you get things out there that ideally you probably couldn't do with a camera, but you can do with your voice? So
I mean, that's like, I really think that's where the market is heading. And I can't say like I just made this up, but I mean, there's a lot of articles and things out there to say like now a lot of brands, like at the end of the day, they're producing content to speak to and engage with their audience, and then they're selling the product. It's not the other way around. They're not just like trying to do a commercial or a campaign or ad to sell the product. They're like, okay, well, we're just going to connect with them in an authentic, real way through content, through storytelling. And within that, we right now talking about Vaseline. Somebody was probably like, you know what? I done ran out.
Yep.
Let me go. You know, somebody sees this, it's like reminds them, let me go get right. And it was in the most authentic way.
Yep.
And so I do think that's where companies are kind of moving towards from a marketing perspective. Not to say that the traditional, you know, methods and channels will go away, but they're like thinking about how do we speak to people where they're receiving their content and how is it natural and authentic part of storytelling.
Yeah, the user generated content. It's a whole thing, man. You know, we live in it over here. I'm just reaping the benefits of it, you know. Just run out my free vino lotion running low now, you know.
There you go.
The user generated content going on around here. But it's authentic stories, and that's what I love about business and marketing and sales. Really, all sales is an exercise in relationships and storytelling. That's all it is. People buy into things they connect to. That's what it is. And how can you make me connect with the story you're telling? That you can do that, you can make a sale. How can you convince me that my dollar is worth more with your business than with that burger I want? That's all it is. So you know, and this wasn't even intentional, but it's perfect that we had you on here following an episode with Mark, because you know Mark has his company Il Graphic, and he was talking about, you know, when he first started out, he was making logos for people, and he was getting, you know, outpriced by people and all this stuff. He was struggling, and then just one line changed his whole business more than a logo. Because a lot of times, especially in our community, when we hear marketing, we think advertising. And we think I got to get a logo. Hadn't thought nothing about, all right, what is my business? Who am I trying to attract? What is that I want to accomplish with this? At what point am I successful? What is considered failure? Now, what does that really want to do with this? Like there's a whole story behind these brands. And that's really what marketing is. Marketing is how you package all that up, package that story and get it to the right people in the right way that they need it, so that you can get those sales. So it's an exercise in an art of storytelling and relationships. So Mark got in that one, with his company and his brand, with it not just being a logo, but there's a story we're trying to tell here. And that's what business is telling stories. So with that, now we've talked about you being in the C-suite, we talked about you being an entrepreneur, but we haven't talked much about your business itself. So tell us about what your business is, what you're doing. Who's your ideal client? What's your story?
Yes. So I'll back up a little bit because I had to get here. So when I initially started the business, I didn't want anything to do with DEI, multicultural, nothing in close to it. That was like the trauma place coming from the work and just 2025 and everything that had happened. But naturally I kept getting tapped. That's where a lot of my experience was and is, and from the marketing standpoint, marketing place. So where we have evolved and landed is similar to Mark, right? Like it started off with marketing. And what I learned and realized very quickly is that most of the clients and most of the people that were coming to me that to tap on me for support in marketing, they weren't ready. They didn't have the operations, the systems in place. They didn't really have the strategy in place to execute the thing that they wanted me to do, right? So they're like, oh, well, we need help with social. We need, to do some experiential events. We need these things. It was always very tactical. And they just wanted you to come in and do the thing, but they didn't have the strategy, in thinking about how is this going to work. So we could do this campaign. And then when you run out of content, what's next? Like, how are you continuously engaging your customers? What's your always on, messaging? And so a new thing, we do that. We really help companies connect culture to commerce, right? So culture being both internal and external. So I think people forget that a big part of how you need to connect, it's not just cultural relevancy. That's a big buzzword and it applies. But who you are, the culture of your company, your brand, why you created it, everything we were talking about today, what's the problem you're trying to solve, all of that. That is the foundation of how you connect in a way that becomes your always on messaging, not just a campaign, not just social media, not just content from a user, user generated content or a creator, is always on. So what we specialize in is helping companies connect. We say connect culture to commerce. So we're all about growth. We're all about growing your bottom line, your growth strategy, how to get you to next. Our target audience, people who are actually within that $5 to $10 million range. So they're making money. Their businesses, they're not necessarily startups. They're businesses who have revenue, but they're trying to get to that next growth stage. And doing what you've always done isn't going to get you to where you're trying to go. So that's where we kind of specialize in. I would say as we're growing and starting to do more work, I'm actually becoming more and more passionate about program management. And I say that to say, because I'm no one thing, I think the businesses know one thing. And so I'm still doing work kind of, across some different pillars, and I'm not going to turn it down because we need the business. And because I like doing different things. It's who I am. So we're doing actually a good amount of program management work too right now. So by that, it is, people are like, hey, we're doing this. We have this program. It could be a business development program, could be a leadership development program. Like we have this thing that's going on, but we need to tweak it. We need to enhance it. We need it to be better. We need to be able to charge more for it. How do we do that? We need to be able to, scale it, do more of these, so we do a good amount of program management as well. And then last but not least, I'm a coach. So I'm a certified executive coach, personal and executive coach. So I do that as well. I still have some coaching clients. And always open to more. So those are like our three: the marketing, the program management, and then personal and executive coaching.
Yeah, that storytelling is a common thread through all of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think storytelling is huge. I do think storytelling is important. But what I would say that I don't know that people talk about often enough is like, you have different types of storytelling, right? So you have storytelling, which is meant to make people feel good, and it's the kind of storytelling that's out there, especially from like a social impact standpoint. How are you showing up in communities? Companies do that feel good storytelling. And then, which is where I think a lot of people need to be, and they haven't really figured out the secret sauce to get there, is you have storytelling that's going to drive a call to action, which is to purchase a product. And that is a slightly different type of storytelling. And I think when people say storytelling, to your point, they're like talking about it in this big, like up here, and they're really not getting down to the tactical level.
Right.
Yeah, that's great that you talked about how you all are giving back to the community, but how is that making me actually want to buy your product? And what does that look like? Like, how are you actually pushing people further down the funnel, the sales funnel, to get to the point, maybe not today, but eventually, that they're actually going to buy? So that's where that's where we really focus on, is like growth strategy, meaning in like I said, culture to commerce. So really tying it to revenue, to driving sales, driving growth for the company, not just like the awareness upper funnel work.
See, a new thing takes you from simply storytelling to influencing without authority. Come on, somebody.
Hey,
somebody. Go clock that.
I like it.
You said clock it.
Clock it. Add it to the website. Might even put the quotation Devin Jenkins underneath there.
Let them use you.
What Risha say? It's T when you see them two fingers touching.
What did she say? Come on now.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, but one thing you said though that I really love is that people keep forgetting to go back to their core values. when it comes to their business. And I remember one of the things, so I'm on the board for the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists Milwaukee. And our last president, Tanette, one of the things she said before she left, she said, when you guys are doing things for NABJ Milwaukee, remember to always go. Remember, if it does not align with our purpose of this organization, we should not be doing it. And and I was like, that stuck to me because it's like a lot of people are trying to do, like you said, all these different things and tell these different stories and who they are. But if you're not going back to your core of who you really are, then and I think about it like from an Apple standpoint. A lot of people kind of moved away from Apple because they weren't being innovative, but their core was innovation. It was creating products that were unique and different. Even though if you kind of look at it, from a different standpoint, they just really position themselves as like we're the best. And so you could argue that Samsung is really a better product, but somehow, some way, Steve Jobs made it look like their stuff is cooler, and you're not cool if you don't buy this stuff. Yeah. But they were also some innovative things as well too. And I think now, hopefully, when Tim Cook, since now that Tim Cook, not because Tim Cook is coming down, but I'm hoping that Tim Cook told them that we need to still be innovative. And I forgot the gentleman that's going to take over for Tim Cook. I think he was like in engineering or something like that. I forgot his name. But I'm hoping that they bring back the innovation into Apple products. I'm tired of getting the same iPhone every year.
You're like, we're supposed to be the first.
Right. It's just all it is just a little faster, a little better camera, and maybe some cosmetic stuff on the phone that's different. But I'm tired of getting the same iPhone. I still got the 15 Pro Max. I'm waiting for the newest. I'm waiting for the 20 to come out.
You want the new.
I don't want the new. I want the 2020. This 17 is cool, but I want the new stuff.
So going back, you gotta wait. So you gotta wait like every 5 years, like me. Then you get you a new phone. See,
I mean,
that's how I am.
Normally, I would have this right now.
I'll wait till you know how they be, where it's like it don't stay charged, stops working. I wait till they like, listen, she finna give us the money. We finna stop making this phone work till she turns it in. Yeah, that's why
I cracked my screen last year and it was cutting my finger. That's all right. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
I still have in my drawer right here. I still have the best iPhone I think was the iPhone 6 Plus. The iPhone
16?
No, 6.
Single digit.
6S.
Now hold on now.
6S Plus. That was the best iPhone to me. The 6S Plus.
6S Plus. Okay.
Yeah, but
this might be the 6.
Not y'all having
no. This the XR. This the XR.
I still have it. It don't work. It doesn't do anything. I just still have it. But yeah, I got the 15. But to me, I think that was the best.
No, so I had the XR before I got the 15 Pro last summer. Like right before Share the Vibes last year, I got the 15 Pro. I had the XR, so I had that for a little minute. That's basically a 10 and a half. It's basically what the XR is, 10 and a half. But I think before the XR, I had like a 6, and I think I just let the girls play around with it or something at this point. But yeah, man, hey, shout out. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is, you got to get a new iPhone. Hey man, this has been good. Before we wrap, I did want to ask you, all right, grew up in Topeka, went to FAMU, two completely different worlds, came to Milwaukee, another different world, moved around all these companies, went to the C-suite in Columbus, Ohio, now entrepreneurship. So a lot of different worlds, different personalities, different cultures, and all of these. How have you stayed grounded culturally as you move between these different spaces?
That's a good question. I will start with this. I am so grateful for Peyton and Taryn. Maddie too, don't get me wrong. But it was something God knew. He absolutely knew. One, I wanted boys. Like I always wanted to be a boy mom. I was such a tomboy growing up, and then I got all girls. So he knew what he was doing. But those two, I have no choice but to be humble. they humble me. And I can't even say it's teenagers because they've been doing it since they were since they were little. So that's number one. That's just gonna be me. I think friends and family for sure. But I think that there is something that I've had ups and downs. I've gone through a lot of different things, life. But I actually like me. I like me. And it may have taken me a little bit to get there. Like I said, I was probably pretty insecure as a teenager and in high school, but I like I like myself. I like me, and I know that in certain rooms, certain aspects of me can show up. So I don't even like to call it code switching because I don't really feel like I do that a lot. I think that what it is Lydia, who I am, like I said earlier, I'm no one thing. I have different sides of my personality, and given the room that I'm in,
Yep.
you get to see a certain percentage of me. It's still me. It's just you're seeing a certain percentage of or certain parts or pieces of me that you have access to, that I'm
Yeah.
giving you privy to, where other people who really know me, they get to see all of it. They get to see, like you said, Deb, like rumor dances, dances. Like everybody don't get that version. But I think part of what has enabled me to not change, to be the same, person that I have been, is staying true to the me that I like. And I have best friends from middle school still. I have people who I would consider really close friends who I met less than 2 years ago. So through every walk of life, like I have people who have been a part of my life, who are still a part of my life. I'm still meeting new people. And they get to see the, different sides and different parts of me, but I like me. So I feel like people are going to keep getting me.
There it is. Got to be me. One of my favorite Jadakiss songs, Me. There it is.
Got to be me. Yeah. I think that's it.
There it is, folks. There you have it. And this has been dope, man. Mwanja, you got any last words or comments before we wrap up?
I think I said no. Now I'm giving words. It's crazy. Yes. So the answer is yes. I said no, but yeah, no. But for real, no. This conversation was really great. I think you learn a lot because what I love about Share the Vibes is that we get people. First of all, I love the fact that Dev, all these people. You just know dang near everybody in the world. And like I've been living in Milwaukee all my life. You know more people than me here. And which is great. But no, I just think that this was a great conversation. Great perspectives of the C-suite and in entrepreneurship and how those lanes cross over. And I think one of the things I took away from this is not only should businesses know who they are at their core, but people should know who they are at their core. And once you figure that out and know what that is, then you can use that as your North Star and you can make all your decisions around that. And of course, when you speak with God and make sure that you're in his will, you won't be steered the wrong way. So that's what I got from this conversation. So thank you, Lydia, for driving that home.
I love that. That was actually really good. That made me think even. I'm like, wait, we said that came out of my okay, Lord, I see you using me. Like Deb says, let them use you.
Come on now. Hey, Shundo, you baba. That's all right, man. I was speaking to some young men with MKE fellows earlier today. We had a round table.
I remember that program.
Yeah, there were some guys from Nicolette. They were out at our Waukesha site, so they did a virtual round table with a few of us. And my last words to them were, envision the life you want. What does that look like? You want to be married with kids? You want to be East Coast, West Coast? You want the house? You want an apartment? Like what you're trying to do? Just kind of envision that life you want, and kind of reverse engineer it from there. Think less about the titles and like what is that ultimate role I need to be. You know, just what is the life you want and what's the strategy to kind of getting to that point. And I kind of wish somebody had told me that. No, I don't know if things would have played out differently or not, but it might have helped me just in thinking about, what you want to be when you grow up. No, the better question probably is, what is the life you want when you grow up, and what's needed to get there? Because I think that keeps you grounded in purpose, keeps you grounded in passion, and grounded on why you're doing what you're doing. So, kudos to you and all you're doing, all the lives you touched along the way. I'm glad to be one of them, one of many. I've seen Lydia from the rumor to the boardroom.
Man. It's crazy that it's just like really a full circle moment. So I appreciate you for even inviting me to be here, because it's dope to see, like you said, 13 years of and where you can be.
Yeah, life, man, life. So shout out to you, shout out entrepreneurs listening, shout out to everybody climbing that corporate ladder who's listening. Shout out to the students, whoever's just listening, trying to figure out what's next, man. Hopefully listen to this conversation, you hear there's not just there's not one right answer. Life will life and live it and land where you land. There's no one just true path. There's not a right path. It's your path. So enjoy it, walk it, do what you got to do, man. But thank y'all for tuning in. Lydia, how can people stay engaged with you? How can people stay connected with you? What should people be on the lookout for from you next?
Well, the best way to stay connected is LinkedIn. I check it often. I'm there. There's also a link to my website, which is a new thing. So it's a new thing LLC.com. And I have a Calendly link there. So you can set up a discovery call. Even if it's not like you're trying to do business, you just want to talk. Everybody gets the free first 30 minutes. That's my assignment. That's my gift to folks. So that discovery call is free. So that's the easiest way to engage and connect. Besides that, I am working on my next book.
I was going to ask you about that too. Okay.
Yes, I am working on my next book, and it's crazy because this is the first time that I'm saying it publicly. But the last book, I said it publicly, and the book was published the next year. So I feel like now I got to say it publicly, and we'll get there within the next year. This one may not come out next year, but we'll see. But yeah, this one is more about the journey of raising these girls and managing, work and life and all the things that have happened while, attempting to be a good and present mother too.
That's going to be a good one. Yeah, we didn't get into it. Like I said, I've seen some of the different chapters here, but one of the things I admire from afar, it looks like you have just like excellent co-parenting relationships. With these girls, following the support systems and the way y'all able to come together. I love to see it. So salute to you and all what you're doing there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a journey in and of itself. But we team these kids. So
hey, man. Hallelujah.
Yeah, gotta do it for the kids. Do it for the kids.
Shout out, man. Shout out to those girls. Shout out to Maddie, Peyton, and Taryn, and all they're doing too. All of them, they're great. Y'all don't remember me, but I know y'all. And that's me. So, hey, man, appreciate y'all for rocking with us. If you're still listening at this point, you love us. So, hey, like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell so you know when we post, and share this with somebody who needs to hear the conversation. You heard the conversation now. You have no reason to be stingy. Like, share it. Just share it. Share it. Don't stop acting like that. Just share it, man. Come on, share the vibes. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us, man. This has been a good one. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, keep sharing the vibes. Peace.